What's going on, everyone? Welcome to today's video. If you're new here, my name's Ben Richardson. I am the best looking chemical engineer with a crooked nose on the face of the entire planet. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about why polyunsaturated fats are killing you. Now, if you're new here, I want you to subscribe because my channel is going to teach you how to live a healthy, sustainable life through nutrition, fitness, and lifestyle as a whole. So if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe and turn those notification bells on so that you don't miss out on any of my latest content. So by the time you're finished watching this video, you'll know exactly how polyunsaturated fats are affecting your health, and it's going to help you restore your body to a more thriving state of health because you're going to eliminate a huge source of oxidative damage. So let's go ahead and get into it. So to just kind of give you an idea of how I'm going to present things, I'm going to go into some basic chemistry and talk about fatty acid chemistry. I'm going to talk about the implications of that chemistry, and I am also going to tell you what to do with all of this information. So make sure you stick around for the whole thing. So I'm just going to switch over here and do this brief slide on basic fatty acid chemistry. So most people are familiar with saturated fats, monounsaturated fats, and polyunsaturated fats here. So pretty much the key difference among these is that unsaturated means that there are double bonds in the backbone of the fat molecule. So here you see a saturated fat molecule, and there are 0 double bonds here. Here in a monounsaturated fatty acid molecule, you have a double bond right here. And then polyunsaturated fats, they have multiple double bonds. So mono means one, so here you only see one double bond in the molecule, and poly means many, so you can have several. Right here, there are 2, but you can have several. That's all that means. So what is significant about the double bond is that double bonds are highly unstable in the presence of light, heat, and oxygen, and they will break down into free radicals. So what this means is if you can picture this molecule right here, if you cleave this bond, this molecule is going to split into 2. And what is going to happen is those 2 separate molecules are going to have unpaired electrons at the end where this bond gets cleaved. And electrons like to form pairs. So the reason that free radicals wreak havoc on your health is because they are extremely reactive and highly unstable. So like I just mentioned, electrons like to form pairs. They don't like to be by themselves. So when you cut this bond, you're going to have 2 molecules with unpaired electrons at the end. And essentially all it's going to do is it's going to look for whatever it can to react with so that it can form a more stable state. So what's so significant about this is that there is an abundance of both heat and oxygen throughout your body. And as I mentioned before, those double bonds are not very stable in the presence of light, heat, and oxygen. Light doesn't apply so much to when you consume those fats and they're in your body, but there's an abundance of both heat and oxygen. If you think about it, your body temperature rests at about 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's relatively warm compared to the melting points of some of these fats. So when you go and consume these fats and they enter into your body where there is both heat and oxygen, they can readily break down and generate free radicals. And those free radicals are just going to react with whatever they can in your body to form that more stable state. So hopefully I didn't lose you anywhere along the lines as far as me explaining that. If you took some kind of basic chemistry course in high school or maybe in college or something, you should be on the same page with me, but that is what you want to understand. So in general, polyunsaturated fats, or PUFAs, I'll often refer to them as PUFAs, but polyunsaturated fats, you typically want to avoid these because there are multiple double bonds in the backbone, therefore they can create multiple free radicals per polyunsaturated fat molecule. So common sources of polyunsaturated fats are things like vegetable oils, canola oils, sunflower seed oil, safflower seed oil, peanut oils, things like these. And fish oils are also very high in polyunsaturated fats. So here is my opinion on fish oils. You don't want to supplement with fish oils. However, consuming fish in its raw form, in its natural state, that's much more safe because there are a lot of compounds in that actual fish, such as vitamin E, that can kind of mitigate those damaging effects of oxidative stress. But you definitely don't want to be supplementing with fish oils because they extract the polyunsaturated fats out of the fish, and you're straight up consuming that in higher concentrations, and that is just going to wreak havoc on your health, really and truly. I do understand that there are a lot of studies and there's a lot of research out there that talk about how polyunsaturated fats and fish oils and stuff like that, they do lower cholesterol, but they're missing the big picture of what happens on a basic chemistry level. So one of the reasons that your cholesterol levels do lower when you consume polyunsaturated fats is that polyunsaturated fats inhibit your liver from pushing fat out into your bloodstream. And guess what? That fat accumulation in your liver, it is not a good thing. So let me talk about monounsaturated fats real quick. So monounsaturated fats are much safer to consume. I would recommend that you consume these because they are healthier. They're much more stable than polyunsaturated fats. They do have that double bond. They have a single double bond in the backbone, so they can still generate some degree of free radicals, but these are much more safe to consume. So one of the reasons that we hear a lot that you don't want to cook with olive oil is that think about what happens to that double bond when you heat it up. It's going to cleave and it's going to generate free radicals. So we hear all the time, oh, don't cook with olive oil, don't heat up olive oil, and that's the reason why. But for some reason, people just ignore what happens when you use polyunsaturated fats. So a lot of times, restaurants will use peanut oil or other kinds of polyunsaturated fats because they're cheaper. They'll use those as frying oils, and they're heating these oils up to like 350 Fahrenheit and beyond even sometimes. So those polyunsaturated fats are literally just sitting in that fryer being heated up, and there's straight up free radicals floating around in that liquid. And when you go and fry things, there's straight up molecules permeating into the food, and it's getting all into that food that you eventually consume. So I'm not really sure why it's like everyone addresses not cooking with olive oil, but no one really addresses the dangers in cooking with polyunsaturated fats. They're way more dangerous because they have much more double bonds in the backbone of the molecule, and they can generate a lot more free radicals. So common sources of monounsaturated fats are things like avocados, extra virgin olive oil, or olive oils in general. Avocado oil, that's another good one. And there's plenty of monounsaturated fats in egg yolks. Those kinds of fats are typically much safer to consume, and they do have a lot of health benefits. And then another kind of fat is the saturated fat molecule. So there is 0 double bonds in saturated fat molecules, and that's why these are so stable, and really and truly they are healthy to consume. So again, going back to the whole cholesterol thing, we always hear that saturated fats are so bad for you and that they increase cholesterol and they can pose all kinds of health risks and, do damage to your heart and stuff like that. So the point that I want to bring up here is what's going to carry your health so much further than what kinds of fats that you consume is if you're overweight, you want to lose weight. You want that body fat to come off of you. So that should be your number one health priority, not what kind of heart healthy diet you're consuming or whatever. You want to lose weight because losing body fat is one of the best things that you can do for your health. That is going to carry your health so much further than what kinds of fats that you consume. So that's just something that I want to mention. And then also with the saturated fats, a lot of times the sources of saturated fats are very poor. So there's a lot of saturated fats in things like dairy products and red meats. The reason these are so bad is because typically the production process in making these kinds of products, there's all kinds of synthetic chemicals involved along the way. So it's not that red meat or dairy products are inherently bad for you, it's just the quality of these kinds of products is so poor in traditional and conventional produce. So you can kind of mitigate these effects if you opt for the organic produce, or you pay a little bit more attention to the quality of the produce that you buy when you buy meats and cheeses and, I don't know, sour creams, cottage cheese, yogurt, whatever, your dairies and your meats. If you pay more attention to the quality of the produce that you buy, you can definitely mitigate a lot of the health damage that you're doing to yourself if you just buy better products. So, understandably, you might be a little skeptical at this point. After hearing all of this, I'm literally flipping the script on you as to what you are probably aware of. So one thing that I do like to mention is that we are being told all of this mainstream information. You know, polyunsaturated fats, fish oils are good for you, they lower cholesterol, saturated fat is horrible for you, you know, all that bad stuff. We're being told that, but people aren't healthy. They are not getting healthier. This whole epidemic of obesity, especially in the United States, it's not getting better. It's getting worse. And it really and truly is a result of people following this mainstream advice. It's bad advice. So that is one thing I like to mention is we're being told all of this stuff, and people seemingly are sticking to it, but people aren't getting healthier. People aren't getting better. They're getting worse. And another thing that I just want to mention is when farmers set out to increase how much meat they could get off of their livestock, way back in the day, you know, this was kind of a strategy. How can we fatten up our livestock so that they can get more meat? And one approach that they took is, okay, let's feed our livestock different sources of fats and see which ones fatten them up the most. The source of fat that fattened them up the most was vegetable oil. And vegetable oil is a polyunsaturated fat. But guess what happened when they fed their livestock high amounts of saturated fats, namely coconut oil? Their livestock actually lost weight. Their livestock leaned down. So that is one thing that I like to bring up. And the reason that is because polyunsaturated fats are so stressful on your body. There is so much oxidative stress associated with consuming polyunsaturated fats. It's uncanny. And as a result, that it can make you get fatter. And consuming saturated fats, they are stable inside your body. They will not break down. They remain stable. They have a nice rigid structure within your body when you consume them. And those are the kinds of fats that humans have been thriving on for literally thousands of years. So just keep some of those points in mind. And again, I'm not a doctor or anything, so you can't take this information and run with it and go against what your doctor is telling you to do. But it's about time we start questioning all of this mainstream advice that we're being fed every single day. And, you know, it's like it's being shoved down our throats. And look at what's happening with society. I mean, people aren't getting better. They're getting worse. And they're following this presumably true advice. And look what's happening. So that's all I'm going to say about that. So if you learned something from this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And again, if you're new here, subscribe to my channel because I'm going to teach you all about how to live a much healthier, more sustainable life through nutrition, through fitness, and lifestyle in general as a whole. So if you have not already, go ahead and subscribe, turn the notifications on so you don't miss out on any of my latest content. And if you choose not to, that's cool. So feel free to leave your opinions down in the comments below. I'd be happy to have discussions with any of you guys. I know this video is a little bit more on the controversial side because I'm really going against the grain on some of this stuff. So I'm more than happy to engage in some discussions with you guys below in the comments. But either way, if you've made it this far, I appreciate you sticking around until the end. I hope you learned something, so thanks for sticking around. Take care, and I will see you in the next video.